All right, well, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We will have a moment of silence. Okay. Item number 3, adoption of agenda.
Motion.
You have a second? Okay. All in favor?
I have one question on the consent. Pull that off, and what number is that? F. I make a motion, we approve it with the following changes. 4F be put into the new business.
Okay. So, you speak into your microphone. But we heard you. Okay, so, do I need a new motion, or can we have the, how about a new motion?
I second.
We did, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 4, approval of consent agenda.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 5, comments from attendees. I believe we have none. New business. Okay. Petition of voluntary annexation filed by Wayne Stogner.
Mayor, all this is to call for the public hearing, which would be August the 13th. This is a satellite annexation for a 7-Eleven store. It'd be out on the highway, and we have, it looks like it meets all the requirements for a satellite annexation, and this is the only action the council needs to take tonight is to call for the public hearing.
Okay, so that needs to be a motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay, do we have a motion for that?
I make a motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. It's on,
It's out there near the gas company, isn't it?
it's on Lewis Breeden.
It's out there across from where Henry Stogner lived, I think, is where he's talking about, on 38 Highway. 38? Yeah, past, you go past the, not Bonnie's, but you go, it's right there at the intersection.
Right there near the intersection.
Yeah,
Near the old gas company.
near the old gas station, yeah.
In that-
Yeah,
in
the
that
Bonnie
area.
gas station, down the below it.
All right, item number 7, discussion of depot office space rental. Has everybody read the rental rate, current rate, and then the information on that?
I don't see why we should set a precedent of lowering it for 2 for 1, reducing it. I think whatever it rents for, charging full price. Don't make any reduction or in
Okay.
special cases.
We have rented it for $500.
Are we currently renting for anything, or is it unoccupied?
No, it's unoccupied.
How many unoccupied dwellings or offices are in that building now?
There's one space that we use for community meeting space if we need to have meetings there. That's where this would be now. We'd move that down the next and actually have a little bit more room. Kind of agree with Oscar. I think cutting to 200, that seems like a very, very low price. But
She offered, didn't she come back and counter with 250?
$250, yeah.
What did she, 300 for the one she's in now?
I think it's 500 for the one she's in now.
No, 325,
Or 325?
yeah.
So,
I have a question for TC. I mean, your firm represents a lot of places, and I don't know if y'all deal with anything like this or not, but is there a standard, like, would it be fair and feasible to keep the same structure but have a different structure for somebody renting a second or a third? Being equitable to everybody, and what I'm asking is, if somebody's already renting the space, and then there's another space that ties open to their existing space, what would we be like if we did lower it for that person?
Yeah.
And tie to it, not just this person, but in general, a new policy
Right.
that says you could get a discount on the second?
Now, I want to make sure I'm clear. When we're talking about renting office space, this is actually someone has a long-term rent. I mean, they use it as
It's a
their
long-term,
office.
yes, not like
Yeah.
a Saturday night or whatever.
Like facility rental.
They're using it as
Yeah.
a business.
So I think when you have like facility rental, like you just mentioned, there it's really important that you have the same rate for everybody, so you don't have any kind of pattern of discrimination. I'd say if you're renting office space, it's really, every transaction is a unique commercial transaction. And as you all know, you enter into a lease agreement, I'm just making this up, say in January of year one, well, by year two, the market might have changed, and what you can get may have gone up or may have gone down. And I think you can negotiate a commercially reasonable rate that's different for each space.
different
I mean, and the key there, again, because you don't want to have any kind of discriminatory behavior, is there needs to be just a basis. But, if you've got vacant spaces and your recommendation from the manager is, maybe we should cut it some to get the space rented, that's perfectly fine.
And then the next question, and I don't know if Lane would know this or not, but have we went up on the rent? Has the rent structure changed any over the past few years?
I
Is it
do not
something
know
that we're
that.
constantly doing?
I-
Was
I-
it being rented for one amount and then it went up?
Sir, I don't know that amount. I don't know that.
I think it has been raised.
And if she's paying $325 for one and this one $5, is it the square footage that's different? Is it the footprint where it's at? What would that be?
I think this space is a little larger, but
It's larger by 17 square feet.
yeah,
And how long has it been vacant?
I do not know the answer to that either.
Just a couple of months.
Yeah.
OK Nails was up there.
Who?
OK Nails, the taxi.
Okay,
And
okay,
they moved
okay.
out of.
Gotcha.
Well, there's also that rent, the last time it was rented for $500 a month.
Yeah.
So that, if she can't accept $500 a month and in a booming business, then I think it should be $500 a month.
Maybe one solution, if their current space is 325, that might be 325 for this. If it's just 17 square feet difference, that might be a compromise to offer. If,
Why are we renting that one for $325? Why is she?
She's
is that
been
under
there.
contract?
We've evidently increased the rent. She's been there almost since we opened.
Well, that's okay, but does she need to pay, increase that 325 to 500?
I mean, I really feel like there's some questions that we need answers before we move on this. I mean, I'd like to just put this off to maybe next.
I hate to see an office
month.
be vacant, and this is more or less an adjoining room situation for her, and maybe we could talk to her and come up with something that's more palatable for us as well as for her. But I just don't like to see empty office spaces. That earns us no revenue, but I know we can't make a plan for one that we don't offer the same thing to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. That's why I
We
was,
have to restructure like.
that's why I was mentioning the restructure for multiple occupancies and things of that nature.
So
Does
you
this
want
room
this table-
actually adjoin?
I mean, I'd like to know the
Yes,
answers to the
yes,
questions.
it adjoins,
like,
yeah.
How did we get the 500? Where was it before? You know, things like that. But, I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
Well, that looks to me like we need to raise the 325 to 500, if that's what, written that out, 207,
I think what they're saying is based off of the square footage of the building, but we just don't know that. That's just a guess.
but it's an office.
Yeah.
It's an office in the building. So I'm thinking instead of
Hers has
decreasing
208
anything, we'll
square feet.
bring the 325 up to 500.
Yeah, then you might run all of them off. I will say this, and this is off topic just a little bit, but it does pertain to it. We have had, budget meetings down there before, and the trains coming by, it's really hard to hear. So
said the
there is
wrong
gonna
thing.
be a limited
I said the wrong
group
thing.
of folks that are gonna be able to use this as, a business, arrangement. And it fits with her. I talked to her, and it fits with her because, there's not really a big deal with face-to-face and phone, type stuff that the noise would prohibit. So, I mean, that's something that we need to think about as well.
And
And that-
also, we don't run as many trains as we used to run through.
Right, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's the case too,
That's
yeah,
it.
for sure.
Well, with
actu-
Brower is in there for 300 a month.
Yeah, he's been there a long
We
time.
pay 300.
I misspoke also. She's only got 208 square feet.
Right, this office is 340.
And 340. So I was looking at the wrong numbers.
Yeah,
So it's 132 square feet larger.
I'm just thinking we ought to bring the 325 up.
Well, we'll have to raise Brower if we do that.
Well, what's fair? Fair.
But I mean, we don't even know that the rate that we're charging is even connected to the square foot,
That's right.
square footage. I
Maybe
mean,
we need to get a square
yeah,
foot
that's,
rate.
yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't know that.
So do you want to table it?
Yeah.
Have
I
a
mean, I would
motion?
rather table it, but I mean,
We'll just table it till next
Yeah.
week.
We need a
next
motion.
month.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion, we table it until we get further information and discussion about it.
yeah,
All right,
second.
How does that go? Make a
all in
motion.
favor?
Aye.
And can I just add that the questions that we talked about, those be answered when we
Yes.
come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Because they're obviously different sizes.
All right, so back to budget amendments. Is that what we're
Yes.
on?
Yes. Let me pass out something here.
Yeah, find them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Such tiny writing.
The important part.
Oh, God.
The budget amendment was for fire department salaries. Adjusting, you all increased the salaries for the fire department. We had to amend the items in the budget, and I thought we had done what y'all had asked, that you wanted the fire department treated like the police department. This is an email that Edna sent me on June the 28th, and she says that in January of '22, that's when you adjusted the police department salaries. Their salaries went up on between 7 and 18% for police officers. That's how much their salaries went up. You had a police pay plan. At that same time, all the other employees got a 2.5% COLA. The police department did not get the COLA in December of '21, a month before the pay plan went into place. The council specifically voted to exclude the police department from the January '22 COLA. In July of '23, which is 18 months after the police pay plan went into place, police pay plan went into place. We gave all employees, including the police department, a 4% COLA. The budget amendment that you have does not have a COLA for the fire department employees. It just gives them the new pay increase based on the fire department pay plan.
You through? Were you finished?
Yes, yes.
the market adjustment that the fire department got was based on the 2024 market rates, right?
Yes,
So they actually incorporated any cost of living changes that had transpired since their original pay plan insertion in 2022.
yes,
So they went to actually a higher scale than the rest of the employees are still on. The rest of the employees are still on the 2022 market rates, right? We haven't adjusted our pay plan to reflect the 2024 market rates. That's what the COLA is supposed to do, isn't it?
yes, the COLA does that.
So if we give the fire department the COLA in addition to the raise, it's raised them beyond the 2024 market rates.
Yes,
The COLA simply brings the rest of our employees up to the same thing the fire department just got. I don't see how we didn't give the police department the COLA for the same reason. It's a cost of living raise, and which means that if the cost of living has changed since 2022, we want to adjust their salaries accordingly, which is what our COLA would do. But if you've put somebody with a 2024 market rate, then they already have all these adjustments.
yeah. And they're using data from the league that they got from the year before, so it's the most recent numbers we have, but those numbers are still a year old based on data that they got from last year, yes.
So I want to just finish reading what you stopped at. To summarize, the police department did not receive a COLA in January of 2022 because the new pay plan was implemented for them.
At that time.
No,
That's
Right.
Yeah, keep reading.
they got the raises.
This was specifically voted on by council, and that was in the motion that we made for that, whenever we made that. That was motioned by the council and voted and approved. And then the police department was added to the market pay plan in 2023, which is what we did with the fire department 2 weeks ago. And then I'll keep reading this same email, and received the COLA of 4%.
They did
The
receive.
goal for 2024 is to bring the fire department up to the market with the police department. To exclude the fire department from the COLA this year would be unfair and still be put behind them. Please let me know if you have any questions. And I came up here this morning and I talked with you in your office and asked you to go with me to the finance officers. And she looked at both of us and said that apples to apples, the pay plan that the police department received and the pay plan that the fire department received, they got the 4% COLA, and you withheld the 4% COLA from the fire department. It's apples to apples. It was not motioned for there to be a 4% reduction in the COLA for the fire department because we're in fiscal year 2024, 2025. And I don't understand why this is even an issue, because you heard the finance officer tell you that she had some reservations about not giving this to the fire department because it would take them backwards. All I can tell you is in 2022, we did something with the pay, but we didn't introduce them into the market, and they did not get the plan voted on by this council, who sets the budget and operates everything as far as the monies to be spent for this town. Whenever we brought the fire department into the market, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, please jump right in if you want to. When we brought the fire department into the market, I made a motion to get them into the market at what we had talked about. There was nothing mentioned about withholding the COLA from the fire department. The finance director absolutely backed that up and verified that today. The last time I checked, the city council votes on who gets what and who doesn't, and it's not a unilateral decision by a city manager. So any other questions that you have for me, I'm ready to make a motion on what we need to do.
Well, before we do that, the most important part about this email that we got right here, it clearly says from the finance director to exclude the fire department from the 4% COLA this year would be unfair.
This is on the email that you
And
just handed.
if it's unfair, I don't like it. I want to be fair to the police department and to the fire department. And if that's what it means, make your motion, I'll second.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jesse. I think this last paragraph explains it all.
all we gotta
And I
say.
don't understand why it's even been brought up.
Well,
and
But I mean,
come up.
please, I mean, before I make a motion, please talk to me. I mean,
And that's fine, but what I heard the council say is to do like you did with the police department. And I don't think you included the COLA with the police department when you increased their
it
rate.
says right here we did in the second paragraph in 2023. It was two separate actions.
But that
But
was,
they
They got
didn't get
down.
the COLA in 2022. We had a 2% COLA. They
They
did
did not
not.
get, but that was not the market. When we brought them into the market in 2023, and
When
just so
did we
everybody knows, the
implement
reason
pay
we
plan?
did this is because the fire and police specifically have not been able to
make a
even
But
hire
make a
people.
motion.
I make a motion, we give the fire
But I
department
wanna explain
the
one thing.
4% cost of living for this year's budget.
I second the motion.
Go ahead, Lang.
the COLA increase for the police got was 18 months later. They didn't get one at the time everybody else got the COLA. They did get a.
Read the email.
Well, all that may be right.
Read the
but-
email,
but
second paragraph.
Your finance director said to exclude the fire department would be unfair. That's all I care about.
I understand
She
that.
says it's unfair. That comes from her. I'm ready to vote.
And put them behind. I'm
You
ready
got
to
a
vote.
vote, you got a
Got a
motion,
second.
got a second. Let's go.
Do you have anything, Adam?
Nope.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I would like to have a copy of this letter attached to the minutes of this vote
I can't even
as
see what it
to
says.
what happened and what we did.
Okay,
They do.
I understand.
Fair and fair is fair.
Fair is fair.
Well, I think if we're going to talk about fair, we need to talk about everybody else that works for the city.
Well, let's talk about it.
And we did say we were gonna do that in
Okay.
January, but I think it's also fair to say that the reason we did this for the police department is because we couldn't get police officers. And you agree with it, and everybody up here agreed with it. And the fire chief had come to us, he had lost officers, there's others probably about to leave. He had one application sitting in there, and it was from a foreign country.
Has he filled any position since we
I have
changed
not talked
salaries?
to him, I have not talked to him, but we just did it a couple of weeks ago.
Well, it don't matter.
But I just don't understand why this is
I'm
such
not
a.
opposed to anybody making a fair living. I'm just saying that everybody that works for us eats out of the same hand. And we need to be really, really careful that we don't treat one class of employees different from another one.
Well, why did you
Simply
agree with the
because they-
police department and then not agree with the fire department?
Because the
It's the
police
same
department.
exact thing.
It is not.
It was.
It is
It
not.
is exactly the same.
It is not the same thing.
I don't know how you can say it's not. I
Well,
mean,
the
it's,
finance
Well, it
director
is not
says
in
it's
my
unfair.
interpretation. You get a market adjustment
this
based on
come from the
current numbers.
finance
that-
officer that we talked to, me and you today, and I think
Well-
it says the same thing. I specifically asked her, the personnel actions for the fire department, bringing them into the market, was that the same as what happened with the police department, same as in the market?
Was she the
said yes.
finance
Well, it don't matter.
director
It's
when
been
that
voted
happened?
on and.
Be unfair.
Let's move on to the next issue.
That's right.
I'm done.
It's
That's all I gotta
settled.
say.
That's fine.
Boom.
All right, city managers report.
Yes, my notes here. What's that? A couple of things. I mentioned at the last meeting that we discovered that we have a landfill permit for our brush landfill that is due. I'd hoped to bring an agreement with Withers and Ravenel, cost agreement for that tonight, but we're not quite ready for that. Doing some preliminary work. This permit has to be renewed every 5 years. It's due in October of 2024. In some preliminary work, we discovered that the permit that we submitted in 2014, which would have been 2 permits ago, the survey is inaccurate. So we need to do a new topo survey. It looks like we'll be asking for an extension on that permit. That's a formality to get that done. And we'll have more information for you at our August council meeting. Last week, the mayor and I and Michelle and Mackenzie met with David Gall, who is a historic preservation architect. There's some information at the dais concerning a proposal he made concerning the Opera House. David is a well-known historic preservation architect. He's getting out of doing a lot of architectural work now, and mainly he just does consulting. And he sent a proposal yesterday, and I'm not asking you to take action on that tonight, but He gave two options. One is grant funding, which would be $5,000 to advise on grant funding. I think before that, we really need to look at the existing conditions of the Opera House. He had done work for the city before, and that proposal has his fee of $9,750, also a structural engineer of $3,000, and we'll probably need to utilize a hydraulic lift, and the estimated cost of that is $5,000. So we're looking around $17,750 for his services there. I've also had some outreach to the Department of Commerce to start looking at some ways they could possibly help us with this, if you'd like. But we'll bring this up to you at the next council meeting for discussion. Do you have any questions about that?
I've been very busy out of town, but I didn't see anything about where we were going to be meeting with this guy. Was the council notified of this meeting?
This was just, I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, we got pretty specific,
Michelle.
detailed
Yeah.
prices here, and I just would like to
Ask
know
him
why the council was not made aware of this, so we could participate. I mean, we've all done stuff at the depot and
Right.
things like that before, and I mean, I just think it was something that we should have been made aware of.
I agree.
Michelle is the one who called David Gall, and she's the one who arranged the meeting.
Who was that?
Michelle Pressler.
Why wasn't the council notified of this?
You'll have to ask her.
Well, I'd be glad to. It's bad.
Well, actually, I'm asking you to find out, and if you could let us know, because it just seems to me like if we're gonna be meeting with a person that is gonna give us a proposal, that we may want to attend that meeting.
Yeah. And it comes back up as a total of all fees be $45,460. Why wouldn't the council be notified of a meeting like that? And it comes back, and these are all, what I see are estimated figures, am I right? It could, when it comes on.
This was really very preliminary meeting. I didn't.
Preliminary, right?
Yeah, so.
Throwing, that's a lot of money.
Well, we're
Well,
not gonna vote on it
nothing's been
tonight, don't
spent.
look like, let's just
I mean,
table
yeah.
this until we get more information.
More information.
And have it next month.
Ms. Pressler maybe should have been down here tonight to explain more about it.
Anything else, Lane?
That's all.
All right. Mr. Martin?
Well, nothing other than the American Legion baseball team is really doing real well this year. They're in the second round of the state playoffs. They played last night and won. They play tonight at 7. If they win, they go, well, not, they will go to Beaufort, North Carolina, Wednesday and Thursday, and if necessary, they'll have the championship game here. And then if they win, they will move on to the next level on their journey to the state championship. That's where we're at. The city's been awfully good. The participation has been well attended. The city's been awfully good about assisting and providing for the park, the Memorial Park, and the things they need up there. It's just been a good season so far, and I hope to see them go all the way to the state playoffs. Other than that, that's about it.
Maurice, gonna be all right.
Ms. Covington?
Just thank everybody for all of their hard work on the 4th of July, or 5th of July. And sorry that the weather never seems to cooperate, but they followed it up with I think, a really good day. You combined it with the Food Truck Friday and a lot of activities down at the depot and the fireworks. So I think they did a great job. I hope maybe one day we'll get on the schedule to have our fireworks on the 4th. I don't know. We fell out of rotation, and it's hard to get back in. And I don't think everybody understands that our previous person who did those fireworks got out of the business with no notice. But at any rate, I appreciate all the city employees and the efforts they made on everybody's behalf, because this is truly a county-wide event, not just a community event.
Mr. Sellers?
Thank everybody for coming, and again, I want to give a shout out onto our American Legion baseball team. They're doing great, having great leadership in Chip Gordon and Chad Sessom. They're doing a wonderful job with the team on it. And I'd also like to say that I'd like to see our streets, from the clippings and the limbs and the get our streets cleaned up. Our streets are looking pretty shabby, and I'd like to see them get more attention. And that concludes my remarks.
Maybe y'all will pay him better.
Mr. McQueen?
Yeah, just, I won't say exactly what Councilwoman Covington said about the fireworks, but that was spot on. I would just say that a lot of people thought there was a choice between July 4th and July 5th, or July 3rd and July 4th, but the choice was July 3rd or July 5th or nothing. July 4th was not an option. So thank you for, it was still a spectacular event. There was a lot of people come out, several counties away, and the team down at the depot did a great job. The team with the city did a great job. The fire department, the police department, everybody did a great job. Public Works, everybody took part in that process. I would like, if somebody could check up on Batley and 177 where that little median's at. It looks like there's been somebody went out there and did some work, maybe a group or something, and they cut some tree limbs and stuff, and they're sort of pushed up against the other bushes, and they're sort of dying and you can't really see them. If they can just be made aware that that is there and maybe get that picked up. I mean, I don't think they can see it. There was some stuff that was put out there that got picked up, but it's on the Batley Dairy roadside once you take the right fork going south. And on the Batley Dairy roadside, that triangle right there. I guess somebody went out there and cut the bushes and raked up or something, but.
That used to be the Hamlet Tree Beautification Board.
Beautification.
Started that up there.
Yeah, I don't know if they
But then
did
the city
anything.
took it over and
Yeah,
see what's happening.
but that's it.
Okay. And I'd just like to add that this Friday is another Food Truck Friday at the Visitor Center. So we now have a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into, excuse me,
Attorney-client privilege. Go ahead.
make a motion, go into closed session.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
What I say, Don?